Bennett, followed by Colin Beattie, please.
Thank you, and I'm pleased to follow a fantastic speech by Gail Ross that was cut short at the end here. I'm pleased to have this opportunity to contribute, and I'd like to begin by congratulating both the Equalities and Human Rights Committee and the Education and Skills Committee for their work on these important and cross-cutting issues which we are debating today. Whilst there is much to celebrate, for too many young people in Scotland today, their time at school is a battle. Bullying means school for them becomes something to be endured rather than enjoyed. Instead of being an environment in which they are thriving, prejudice-based bullying means some young people are instead struggling to survive. The TIE campaign research is well established and well known amongst colleagues in this chamber, but the sheer awfulness of their research findings bears repeating as loudly and as often as possible. 90% of LGBTI young people experience bullying at school because of their identity. 27% of those attempt to take their own life, and 15% try more than once. Beyond these statistics are real stories, real people and real devastation due to the havoc wreaked upon individuals because of the prejudice they face. Today, I want to take the opportunity to talk about the experience of one of my young constituents who I've been supporting in recent months due to the absolutely appalling treatment they've faced at school as a result of their gender identity. I think their story, albeit anonymised, can tell us more about what needs to change and why than standalone statistics or reports ever can. This young trans person has been the victim of an appalling catalogue of abuse and harassment by other pupils at a school in South Lanarkshire. From name-calling, physical assault, to consistent online harassment and verbal abuse, it really is as bad as it can get. The situation has deteriorated to the point where this young person has already, on one occasion, tried to take their own life. The campaign of abuse, which remains ongoing and incessant, means my young constituent faces a daily battle of torment, frequently missing out on school because the pressure of facing the harassers is just too much to cope with. And this young person is still, to date, struggling to access the adequate support they need from the school, in large part because a lack of adequate reporting and recording of incidents, which are prejudice-based in nature, and an apparent inability on the part of the school leadership to see these bullying incidents as part of what is a wider cultural problem which amounts to a pattern of abuse. The school can't even recognise a hate crime when it sees one. I'm continuing to work with this young person, their family, the school, and I met with the local authority again last week to try and make some progress. But it's been heartbreaking at times to witness the utter dejectedness which this young person has come to expect at such a young age. Because when recently speaking with them, I heard something which seemed to sum up their experience so well, and yet it is something which is also so utterly unacceptable. That school, for them, for this young person, isn't or can't be about making friends or having an enjoyable experience. It's simply about them trying to survive through their next few years so that they can receive an education. That sentiment is a shocking indictment on the experience of some of our LGBT young people, and we must do better. School should not be a battle, so we need to change, and urgently. Because as we know, the experience of my young constituent is not the experience of all young LGBT people in schools. On a more positive note, earlier this week I had the fortune of being in Brannock High School in Motherwell, and I was there with the TIE campaign. I was overwhelmed and amazed by the supportive environment which they've fostered in their school. Brannock High is clearly outward-looking and forward-thinking, and it was a delight to speak to their LGBTI committee, newly established in August, which provides a welcoming and safe network for pupils of all ages in that school. As a visitor to the school, the commitment and passion of Miss Divers, who helped to set up the committee, and the head teacher, Mr Colquhoun, was clear to see and truly impressive. So on Monday, we talked about today's debate. They know that it's happening, and the young people were really keen that their voices could be heard today. So I've agreed to read out some of their questions. So from the experts themselves, which includes Jamie McLean, Rachel Dillon, Sophie Steele and Ciara Gillespie, Here are some of the issues that the group raised with me, for me to raise with you all today. What can be done to ensure that all teachers receive compulsory training on LGBTI inclusive education? How we could make content on LGBTI issues in family life and sexual health and PSC compulsory for all schools and pupils. And how LGBTI bullying can be recorded so we know the true bullying figures and can be confident that schools are recording it. I'm sure the pupils at Brannock will be interested to hear from the committee and the government on these points. With the right attitudes and support, we know that things can be different, and the experience of Brannock High School gives me hope that things can and will change. But it shouldn't be down to your luck or what catchment or what postcodes you live in. That's why I believe, and I'll just finish here, that we do need legislative change with the obligation on the recording of prejudice-based bullying placed on a statutory footing, as well as a legal duty for all educational establishments to provide inclusive sex and relationship education. It strikes me today there's wide agreement across these benches. It's the pace of change we now need to work on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms Lennon. I call